Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
When some people think of networking, they generally conjure up images of meeting new people, and that can be short-sighted. Think about it. Have you ever wondered about all the people who seem to have fallen out of your life? Might there be some networking potential wrapped up in those relationships? After all, you've invested tremendous amount of time and energy in building those connections into relationships. You knew them, you liked them, and trusted them, and they did the same for you. So there are likely some hidden benefits that could be tapped into, right? In fact, social science indicates that there are. In 2011, and I may have talked about this before, and there's more to this than just this study, but in 2011, there were 3 researchers who collaborated on a study aimed at determining whether people could benefit from reconnecting with what they termed dormant ties. And that's somebody they hadn't communicated with, someone that the research subjects had not communicated with in 3 years. So to conduct the study, what they did was they identified 224 executive MBA students. Executive MBA students are individuals who go back to, or who maybe on the weekends take MBA courses, or in the evenings will take MBA courses, but then throughout the week they're working a job. So many of these people, all of these people, that's why they were selected, were actively involved in a project at their respective companies. And so they asked these students to reach out to at least 2 of their dormant ties, again, people they hadn't communicated with in at least 3 years. And then once they reconnected, they were to go and seek ideas, insights, and assistance on their projects from these dormant ties, amongst other things, but you get reconnected. Well, what was the results of this exercise? Through it, the MBA students discovered that the dormant ties offered tremendous value related to their projects. And why is this? Well, there's really 2 reasons. First, the dormant contact had useful information and context as their professional lives continue to grow. You think about it, when somebody rolls out of your life 3 years from ago, let's say, they don't just stand still where they're at. Their life continues to move forward. They're continuing to learn new things. They're continuing to make new contacts. And their value, their social capital, their intellectual capital continues to grow. And so when you reconnect with them, there's more there than there was 3 years ago, or however long it was. But the second reason that the second thing they discovered is that the trust and respect that these MBA students had built with these dormant ties never really went away. It was always just there. It just had to be rekindled. They weren't starting from scratch and building relationships. And stop and think about, when you build a new relationship, all that you go through with respect to that relationship. And with these ties, with these dormant ties, it was already there. They had spent 4 years in college already, or they had spent umpteen years working side by side in a particular company or a business. And so reconnecting, there was probably a little bit to knock the rust off, but by and large, it was there. And so these dormant ties had the ability and were also eager to help these MBA students with their projects. And so no doubt you have lots and lots of contacts in your world. And many of those contacts have drifted away because of job mobility. Maybe your interests have changed. Other time demands. I know there are a lot of people who fall out of my life just because our kids are different ages, our kids have different interests. My kids went to Catholic school, and so that flung me into a very Catholic environment, if you will. And not everybody I know, heads down that path, and that's fine. Um, but despite this, there's networking potential that can be reclaimed from these dormant ties. So the first step in reclaiming this social capital, if you will, is first conduct an inventory or a roll call of the individuals in your network. I mean, if you're smart, you've probably got a database somewhere. I use Outlook. I try and keep all my contacts in Outlook. Right or wrong, that's what I use. People always ask, what's the best contact manager to use? The best contact manager to use is the one that you'll use. And I know there's lots of different ones out there, and I've just used Outlook over the years. Again, right or wrong, it's what I use, it's what I'm comfortable with, I'm proficient with it. You might have something different, and that's fine. If you would use what you use, then great. But go ahead and have an inventory, a roll call of all your network, and then go through and identify those that you've not communicated with in some time. We'll call it your dormant list, your dormant tie list. Now, there's no real magic to how this should be done. It can be as simple as a message that just says, and I'm prone to rather than just calling somebody up cold, because you never know when you're going to hit somebody cold. They'll pick up the phone. They have no idea. I think we have the benefit of email where we can send a note, or maybe LinkedIn, so they can kind of take it when they're in the right frame of mind, if you will. But the message can be as simple as, I know we've lost touch, but it would be great to catch up, compare notes, see how our lives are going, personally and professionally. I don't think it needs to be anything more than that. Now, not everyone will respond. I get that. So what? The ones who do will make this exercise certainly worth the time, because if you follow sound networking practices, that's where you try to add value as well as seek it. Great things generally follow. Now, I know what some people are thinking at this point in time is like, oh, you know what? Sounds neat, sounds inspiring. I really, really, really don't want to reconnect with these dormant ties. It just feels weird. And these people I'm contacting probably are going to be feeling the same way about this. But there was a study that was released in 2022. It was released in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. And what they found is that the longer the break in communication between two people, generally the greater the pleasure in reconnection. Unexpected phone calls. Again, I'm not partial to that, but the study says unexpected phone calls, texts or emails to friends or relations that we've not connected with for a while are more pleasing and gratifying than anticipated. The longer the break in communication between two people, the greater the pleasure in reconnection. And again, the reconnection is not, hey, do business with me, buy life insurance from me, picking on life insurance people, or buy a cell phone package from me, or whatever. It's not a pitch. It's just a, hey, we've lost touch. I recognize that. How are things? How are things? Let me know what's going on. What's up with your kids? We are fundamentally as humans social beings, and we enjoy connecting with people, and we certainly enjoy connecting with people that we have relationships with, people that we've come to know, like, and trust. And so these sorts of reconnections really tap into this. Now, the culmination of this report was the result of looking at a series of experiments involving over 6,000 people. And what they did, for example, in one experiment, what they did was participants were asked to phone, text, or phone, call, or text someone they not been in contact with for a period of time. So it doesn't really say whether it was 3 years like in the MBA study. Um, the results showed that the gesture, the gesture was much more appreciated than imagined. Um, so there it is. There it is. You have a treasure trove of contacts out there, a treasure trove of people that you have lost contact with. And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Even if you just say, once a month, I'm going to reach out to somebody I've lost touch with and just see where it goes. And you don't necessarily have to have a project you're working on or something you need help with, although you probably do. It can't hurt to just go out and reach out and just reconnect and share about the types of things that you're doing. No doubt in that conversation, something will come from it. Something will come from it. It might be, I didn't realize you were doing that. Here's somebody that I can connect you with. You just don't know. So that's the challenge. That's the challenge for the week or the month, is find a dormant tie. There's somebody, look in your contact list. There's somebody there. Find a dormant tie, reach out with them. And again, I know we've lost touch, but it would be great to catch up, compare notes, and see how our lives are going, personally and professionally. Good luck.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.